everybody, it's Allie Edwards, and in today's video I am sharing a look at the newest Alphas Are Awesome stamp set. This is an upper and a lowercase, and this is a really fun set that has some different little variations in the typeface itself. So one of the things that happened to me on this one, I knew I wanted to play around with this idea of doing some sort of a large scallop, like something I was going to hand cut. This was my initial starting place, and then I did the stamping and I actually spelled something wrong. So this led me to needing to pivot and change my mind. And it actually, I really, really love how this one turned out. And so you're going to see as we go along here. So first thing I'm doing is I am stamping on vellum. I'm using Stays On ink. This is a vellum from maybe last year, like a Stories by the Month extra pack of vellum, I think, or maybe it was from an actual kit. I can't remember, but it's a fun heart vellum, and I'm covering up, there was some text on it. You can see that I'll be covering that up with the scallop part. At this point, I wasn't sure if I was going to be cutting white cardstock for the scallop or something else. I think the fun thing with this stamp set specifically is that you can play around mixing and matching the upper and lowercase. They are all the same height. Some of the lowercase have the little line underneath them. Some of the lowercase don't have the line. And then all of the uppercase are there. Some of them have variations in their legs or their ascenders or descenders. So like there's part of an N and an M and an R that have a little bit of a longer tail on them. So it'll be a fun set to play around with. The story that I'm actually telling here is I brought a whole suitcase of crafty stuff to a recent volleyball tournament with Anna in Texas. And I'll tell you more about that in a minute here. There's actually the photo. I brought a whole bunch of stuff with me in a separate suitcase that they could then make these clips. Seems to be a big thing in the volleyball universe right now, where they make these fun little clips and then they go around and clip each other, and then they have these little clip collections. So you can see here that one of the things that I also decided to do was run this through my sewing machine. So the sewing machine that I'm using now has some preset different stitches on it, and so I went ahead and did a floral stitch on there in the yellow. That turned out really fun. And then as you see over along the side there that I just showed, what I ended up doing for the scallop part is I had a painted page that I had done. So that's my original painting on a watercolor paper, some watercolor flowers that I did. I folded that paper in half and then I cut the scallops. So this is going to enable me to have a fold over section that's going to go along the outside of the vellum that is paired with a cut 2x2 page protector. So that's going to be its own page, and then the full page photo is going to be its own page. You can see here now I'm just doing a little bit of trimming. So what I've done is I've taken that vellum and I have stitched it to a portion of a 2x2 page protector. I just cut the 2x2 page protector below a seam and then I stitched it on top. And then now I have my cardstock, or it's actually watercolor paper, the folded part, and I'm going to just use a little bit of rolling adhesive first, and then I'm going to go in and I'm going to add red line tape because I felt like it needed a little bit more. But it's basically going to sandwich the page protector and the vellum title on the inside of it, and then I will be punching holes in the scalloped edge to add it into my album. This is just something different and fun. I love incorporating some original artwork. You can also just use a pattern paper for the same idea. So if you have a really fun pattern paper that you have at home there that you love, or you want to make your own, or maybe you've done some some mixed media play and you want to bring in a little bit of that, this would be a good place for that as well. So I'm going to take that whole piece. I'm punching holes in using my We Are Memory Keepers hole punch. I'm also going to run that whole thing through the sewing machine so that it will just it's just another little bit of stitching, and I really love the stitching from this Brother sewing machine. So I've got yellow thread on there right now. And then what this does is it gives me these, I've got 4 pockets then at the top that I can use, 4 2x2 pockets that I can use for holding additional photos and some journaling. So I'm going to end up with 4 2x2 photos and 2 little 2x2 squares of journaling that will be printed on vellum. Get a printable inkjet vellum. That can be such a fun, I love vellum and I love transparencies, and I love the see-through quality of those, and just being able to play around with the layering that happens with that. So I'm going to do those 2 photos back to back, and then like I said, I'm going to print out some additional 2 more 2x2 photos from when the girls all came to my room, and I had all of the goodies there. I brought mini glue guns. So we just had a really fun time hanging out together making these. This was on one of the nights of a tournament where we were in Dallas. So I did 2 little squares of journaling. Again, this is printed on printable vellum, little 2x2s, and these are going to be slipped right into those 2x2 pockets. I'm not going to put anything on the back of them, and it's like part 1 and part 2 essentially. This is something that I think feels really fun to me right now, is really being playful with how I am playing around with different options for creating pages. So bringing in a little bit of the mixed media stuff, playing around, trying to think outside the box a little bit. And for me, that again is feeling really fun. And obviously sometimes I do things that are super simple. And in this case, I'm not adding anything to the full page photo. I'm just going to leave that on its own. So I have this whole other page of playful stuff where I've stitched and I've stamped and I've adding in this mixed media, and then the second page will just be the full page photo. That's another illustration of the story that I'm telling. So alphas are awesome this month. This is number 26, and this was a really fun one. I think I'm looking forward to seeing how you guys may play around with this particular set as well. As always, let me know if you guys have questions in the comments below.